We've got Kitty and we've got Freddie, and I'm just going to bring this with me because otherwise I'll forget what I'm doing. And I've got a quick question for you as you introduce yourself, and that is, how are you using AI in your work? Kitty, do you want to go first?
It's a game changing. AI is the combination of internet, search engine, cloud computing, mobile technology add together. Generative AI and AI is the opportunity of our lifetime. For me, embrace the technology, use it as a tool. Don't try to pivot it or try to ignore it, because it's going to stay here. For me, since November 2022, I've been using the AI tool on a daily basis. It has improved my productivity. As a business analyst, I find it's really useful for its natural language processing to convert the requirements, loose requirements, to a very structured user story, acceptance criteria, and eventually the programming code. As a business analyst, I need to deliver the artifacts such as UML notation, BPMN modeling. I can use my natural language just to generate the diagram. I have massively improved my productivity, improved my efficiency. So for me, I'm really embracing the AI tools because I enjoyed really much the benefits from it. As a book author, I found that the summarization and the translation is really useful for me to think about how to write my book. As you know, I was born and grew up in Hong Kong. English is not my native language. So for me, with the generative AI, I can actually write like a native English speaker. So I'm really grateful.
Over to you, Freddie, as well. You want to...
Hi, I'm Freddie Quack. So I've been a technologist for many years. And of course, I believe that my role in life is to help solve problems with technology. And for a long time, I've been on a mission to just keep using more and more technology to create more and more solutions. And we're talking about the pre-internet days, so it goes to show my age, right? I'm of a certain generation. But then the internet came along and I was in the publishing industry. I helped transform the publishing industry from 95% print to 75% digital, right? And that journey has continued in terms of pushing and pushing and pushing to use technology. So how do I use it for myself personally? So I've helped organizations. Currently, I'm a researcher. I'm a doctoral researcher. And you know what I say? Please, if you don't mind me swearing, damn. The work that I've been struggling so hard to use all the skills that I have for my research, I've now got all these tools that are just as good as me, if not better. So I'm using them as a way to challenge me, as a way to guide me, as a way to help me to find things that I may not be able to find myself. So I'm looking at it as, how can it be used to help me to do the things that maybe I can't do on my own? That's one dimension.
Let's make some points there. I think, there might be a few in the audience here, I'm sure, have dipped your toe in some AI tools and experiment with use to kind of support you in your role, or even just playing and prompting and otherwise. I myself, working in assessment and learning design, there's a whole wave of AI tools on the market now, and we're currently thinking, how can we benefit people in terms of assessment and learning. So yeah, we stand also on the cusp of significant change. But with that in mind, though, and considering what you've been finding and your experimentations, what do you see as being the most significant challenges, either from your own perspective or what you're seeing with other people in implementing AI?
Well, AI is made up of two integral parts: the data part and the algorithm part. And the data part, I find the most challenging is you listen to the previous panel discussion about what if the data contain illegal substances, violence, hate, what have you. The data will be trained and to be integrated in the AI and to provide the outputs to the users. So for me, the biggest challenge is organizations need to have the duty of care to make sure the data is of good quality, inclusivity, with free from bias, free from discrimination, and free from harmful materials. Okay? On the other hand, the algorithm side, don't forget, algorithms do not create themselves. Algorithms are created by humans. What if the humans, they have discrimination, they have bias, they have hate mentality? They will design the algorithms with these elements. So for this, I think we should be able to make sure we have the fair, responsible, ethical data and fair and responsible, inclusive and ethical algorithms that this is a very uphill climbing. I do not have a solution, but I'm going to use this opportunity to kickstart the debate, and hopefully you will have some key takeaway when you go home to think about that.
Excellent, thank you. And Freddie?
Yeah, so I've been in the publishing industry for a long time, and one of the big questions that were asked of publishers or commercial enterprises is, why are you making money from content that you can get online? Right? Because when the internet came along, that's exactly what happened. And you know what was the response? They still exist today, right? And the reason is because the content that goes in, there's a lot of attention being paid to what that content is and how you curate that content. And then on the other side, when it gets out there, so you talk about data. I'm talking about input data, somebody's really caring about that, and also I'm talking about output data. If you look at what AI is doing for you is, you do not know what has gone in there, and you do not know what is coming out from there. And in fact, if you use the same tool and ask the same question twice, you get different answers. So that is one dimension from a corporate organization perspective. The question for all of us as individuals is, what does it mean for us? Do we know what this thing is? Do we know how to use this thing? So I'm just raising this as a challenge. And by the way, as I said before, right, as a technologist, we love solving problems. So we're just setting the scene about the problems that you may come across either at an organizational level or even individually ourselves.
I think kind of we were thinking about which tool should we go for managing the kind of expectations, managing the buzz as well. Sometimes as a leader or an organisation might think, let's jump on this bandwagon, but actually fundamentally what we're trying to solve. That's what we really should come back to, isn't it? What are we trying to solve? What's going to benefit us? And always putting that question at the forefront. And then that's one aspect, I suppose my next question really is, from your perspective, what practically do you think we really need to have to be able to solve some of these challenges and problems that we're having and do things well and responsibly?
I will split your question into 4 parts. In the 4 quadrants, supplier side, the vendor management, and the vendor employees. Consumer side, the consumer's employer and the consumer employees. They all have to be adhered to ethical, responsible AI development. When you educate in terms of the vendor, if the vendor, is it okay to actually train the data from materials behind the paywall? Basically, they steal the data from the content which has copyright. So if it's not right, so I think the vendors should stop or get the permission from the content creator to protect their intellectual property rights and their creation, their trademark or their copyrights. For the vendor's employees, this is really important. If I see my employer doing something unethical, how do I report to the authority? We need stronger whistleblower protection in the society. Otherwise, if we don't, the employees will be keep quiet because they say, well, if I report that, there's nothing happen or something worse happen to me. Yeah. From the consumer side, the employer, they need to look at, I'm going to use AI to automate my organization, but I want to retain my workforce. This is my duty of care to upskill and reskill my staff so that they become useful and to continue to add value to the organization. If I automate my organization and I leave my staff there without doing anything, twiddling their thumbs in the call center, then it's not good for my business and it's not good for their mental health. So from the employee's viewpoint, I will take the proactive action that now my job is being automated by AI. What can I do to remain relevant, to continue to add value to my employer? Do I need to do some courses, some certification to upskill myself? If my job is being automated by AI, what else can I do that AI can't do? That are the 4 parts of the answers to your question.
Ready?
Yeah, I was listening to the previous panel, and one of the speakers talked about the 4 T's. I've got 2 T's, right? I think you'll hear a lot of people talk about that, and maybe it's good to just understand what they are, right? So they talk about trust and transparency, right? So I want to use an example, and these are things that is already happening today. We don't have to necessarily reinvent it. We have got 2 examples. One is in the financial services industry, the other one is in publishing industry. So the financial services industry, you have something called the Consumer Duty Act. I do not know whether you know, but if you do know, what that means is that all the companies, and by the way, it's law, yeah, all the companies that is supposed to be providing solutions to make you make a financial transaction, you have to take responsibility to make sure that the person that you're asking to make the payment understands what they're doing. That is what it means about consumer duty. So that's one layer of protection or responsibility that the organization has to take. Now the second part is it's a two-way. We got to think of all these problems that we have. We always think that it's somewhere else. But the other side of the coin is actually ourselves. What are we doing to make sure that we understand? So you can see if companies take the responsibility to make sure that you do know, our responsibility is to say yes or no to that thing. So therefore, part of the answer to being safe and all those things is about us knowing enough about what we're doing to make sure that we can then make those choices. And part of this world that we're in now, because it's moving so fast, is to really first take the first step of being aware, understand, have that knowledge, and then ultimately, guess what? AI will be fine because it's just a tool. You will be in a position to make those decisions. And very quickly on the second example, if you talk about protection, right, of all this data thing that is going out there, if only the rest of the world understands how publishing and the research world works. There's this thing called code of conduct about data where you know how you use data, you know the provenance of data, you know where they go. It's all there, right? So we can learn from that. You know, publishing also has got a copyright law. It's not perfect, but that's another way. We've got to make sure that we educate everybody else.
Skills, AI skills in some respects, really being embedded, offering that to our customers who receive our products and services. Fundamentally, I mean, what do you think it will happen if we don't get this right?
Oh, I would say if we don't get it right, the users will be misinformed. Because if you let hallucination continue, if you let bias, discrimination, bad data continue, if you let all this happen, what will happen is the cybercrime will go up. Users will be misinformed because there is hallucination. If the example of in clinical industry, for the hallucination, it could lead to very serious consequences. You are talking about life or death. If you are in the hospital, you try to AI hallucinate, and then you give the wrong drugs to the patients. I think the list goes on, but what my take is the situation could be really severe if we let all these problems, if we don't do anything to tackle the challenges.
I know we talk about AI, but again, back to the internet. What was the purpose of the internet, right? It's the information superhighway, is access for everybody, right, and anybody. That's the whole point of technology, right? We want to democratize technology for everybody, not just for the few. But the reality is that even before we talk about AI, do you know that if the measure of being digital is to be able to get connected to the internet, 30% of the world's population are not connected. isn't that a problem? Let's not talk about AI, right? Just talk about that thing. So if you add AI on top of it, if we don't do something about addressing this digital divide that is already existing today in all countries, including the UK, do you know that at least 500,000 school children in the UK do not have a laptop to go and do their online education? These are all real numbers today. Now, if you add AI on top where it moves us away, if we don't even try and get a handle on this AI thing now, the problem would make this divide. Why? You got to get some learning and knowledge from a place of credibility and confidence. For example, I've done AI projects before AI became a thing, and even last year I signed on a program to do AI, and even then I still don't feel that if I were to ask all of you the question, or do you think you know enough about this AI thing, how many of you put out your hand? I would not put out my hand, right? I've been doing quite a lot. I try to do one thing a day to learn about AI. Whatever I learned today is obsolete tomorrow. That is how scary it is. But the point here is that if you have started the journey of just being aware, that path will lead you to understanding and knowledge. So I hope that is a good simple thing that we all can do.
Okay, well, no, there's some great views shared there, and just to bring us into the final section, I've got a bit of a quickfire quiz prepared for you guys, just to put you on the spot. And make
I can ask the audience.
And anyone in the audience is also welcome to shout and answer if they want to. But yeah, question one, and I'm going to be scoring you guys. There'll be a winner, and the winner will, I don't know, get a cup of coffee for free. Question one then. Safety, security and robustness is one of the UK government's 5 ethical AI principles. Can you name one more?
Transparency.
There we go.
Accountability.
Yes, yes. There's appropriate transparency and explainability, fairness, accountability and governance, and contestability and redress. Yes. Question 2 then. Which Hollywood star criticised OpenAI for imitating their voice without consent?
Scarlett Johansson.
So many of them, even Brad Pitt, right?
Yes, after initially being approached, Scarlett Johansson, to be the voice of OpenAI's new GPT-4o model, she was shocked when the voice that was demonstrated sounded uncannily like her, even though she hadn't done it. Even though OpenAI denied that it was intended to sound like her, they soon apologised anyway. Question 3 then. So 1 each, I think. Was that 1 each? Yeah, losing track. Question 3 then. In an article by MIT Technology Review, they claimed an image using AI requires as much energy as what?
Ask the audience. Anyone?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I've read that question completely wrong. MIT claimed that generating an image using AI requires as much energy as what?
Drive your car for 50 miles.
That's a good guess. It was fully charging your smartphone. I did have the same energy generated each time Thor uses his mighty hammer, but I was lying. Question 4 then. What is the purpose of ISO 42001? One of our international standards.
It's AI. It's AI transparency.
standard.
Yeah, it's an AI standard.
Yep, and very, very useful for any organisation who's looking to really embed AI into their organisation or develop some form of AI system. So the Information Technology Artificial Intelligence Management System, ISO 42001, is a standard that you can follow, that you can aspire towards. And then finally, question 5: what was the first question I asked ChatGPT? My first ever question to ChatGPT.
I know my one, which is how to cut a pineapple. That's one, but I have no idea.
Fair enough.
My first question, I remember I asked ChatGPT, what can you do?
Not bad.
It's about him. I have no idea.
Yes. What did I ask?
What can you do?
It wasn't a pineapple. Weirdly, it was, is Tupac Shakur still alive? I don't know why. It was the first thing that came into my head. And I can't remember what the answer was, but anyway. So that brings us to the end of the quiz, and then to talk. And I've completely lost scores. I don't know who won that. If anyone was following, you might want to shout out who was the winner. Was it Freddie? Was it Kitty? We're all winners. Okay, excellent. So yeah, that does bring us to the end. And just before you go, just to say, obviously, if you do want to chat to us, BCS, Chartered Institute for IT, we're on 206, which is just over there. If you want to find out about the range of AI certifications we offer, and particularly our more recent BCS Ethical Build of AI online certification program aimed for anyone developing or testing or implementing AI, even business analysts, for instance. It's a really good program that builds some of those foundations around ethical principles, standards that you can utilize.
Time to upskill yourself.
Yep, CPD is massive. You can find out about BCS membership and volunteering, and you can also put your knowledge to the test through a quiz that you can partake in yourself, with a chance to win a bottle of bubbly. And we're also offering 15% off our bite-sized learning library. Thank you all for listening. Right.
We take questions from the audience.
Oh, are we out of time, or do we have any time for questions? Are we out of time? We're up to it. Okay. Apologies, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and see you all hopefully for the afternoon session. We've got an hour's lunch.